What's up? Talk to me. Okay.
Oh, well, apparently I'm not very ladylike. Here, you want to sit in the one in front of me?
Yeah, I could go sit there. That's no problem. It's okay. No, it's all right. I'll move. Hold on. All right, talk to me. What's up?
Well, after yesterday, I sort of got the impression that you're like the big papa of CG, or like the how do I word
Well,
it?
yeah, K runs C. Basically, K's the leader, and I'm the father of the group. Like, I take care of all the business.
Yes, that's the impression exactly that I'm referring to.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
did have a conversation with Mr. K that I thought would be really important to have with you as well, especially after speaking to my husband.
Okay.
Are you, Mr. Vinny, are you aware of what kind of business my family is involved in?
No clue. I don't like to snoop in people's, business.
Yes, I respect that quality about you, Mr. Vinny. I am much like that as well, mostly because I truly just don't care and I don't have enough time in the day to worry about other people's problems.
Yeah, Sophia, you're a little low today. I mean.
Is this better?
Yeah, there you go.
Is that an extreme contrast though?
No,
Or should
you're
I?
perfect. You're perfect right there. You know,
Okay.
the peoples want to hear your voice.
The demons in your head?
Yeah, the demon said you were low, so I just wanted to make sure you were good.
Yes, I spoke to, well, now that I know that you don't know, let me fill you in if you don't mind.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
So, have you met my son Jimmy, the little gamba kid with the red hat?
Oh, that's your son? Yeah, I know who Jimmy is.
Yes, that
He's
is
a
my
good kid.
boy. He is a good kid. Yes, he, a lot of potential. Unfortunately, at the moment, he's sitting in ICU at the hospital indefinitely.
What the fuck happened to
Because,
Jimmy?
well, he was turned into a vampire.
Ay.
Carmela.
Oh, God.
Yes. And the thing is, I was okay with it initially. I said to her, okay, go ahead. Maybe it's going, because he has a weak immune system. The boy has had like 27 surgeries, 3 different kidney transplants. So I said, maybe.
Jesus.
Oh, yes, Mr. Vinny. He's been through so much you cannot imagine. So I said to Carmela, if you think injecting a little bit, turning him a little bit into a vampire will help him, then to, fortitude his immune system, then by all means. But he went into a coma, and unfortunately, until now, we still haven't found a cure to it.
Fuck. Maybe he'll come out of the coma and be a brand new kid, you know?
I think so. And I think, because he's in a coma, and because as a mother, I think it is my duty to have this conversation with you.
All right.
I want to look out for my family. Essentially, my son was the coke kingpin of the city. Are you aware of people dealing coke in the city?
Wait. What? Wasn't you something like 15?
Mm-hmm.
The coke kingpin, you say?
Yes. He called the G Fuel. People would
Oh,
go to the
I
casino
heard
and
that
they would,
around this. Yeah, you like I said, like I keep my business to myself. Like I don't get involved with people's shit. So like I heard about it, but I never like got into it. You know what I mean?
yes,
But let's just say like many moons ago, I was your son.
I did hear that coke used to be a thing of the past. That it was like this great gem to the city that
Yeah.
one day was just gone and people were starving for it.
Yep.
Well, my husband, um, I'm not really sure how. I'm not really sure when. Sometimes I think, Mr. Vinny, sometimes I feel like things are meant to be. Some things come into your life for a reason. And I'm assuming we must have found our way to each other because he was very passionate about cocaine. Very, very passionate about it.
Yeah, I used to be very passionate about it too. I used to move anywhere from like 40 to 50 bricks like every bi-weekly.
Well, he made a deal with my father in order to start transporting cocaine from Colombia to the city.
Oh, it's all coming to play now. Colombiano, beautiful girl. And now the cocaina's coming in. I get it.
Yeah, sometimes I questioned. I said, is he in it for the cocaine or is he in it for me? But I like to think a little bit of both in the very least.
Of course.
But yes, so Jimmy started dealing cocaine for my husband. And I honestly don't even think my husband necessarily pushed it onto him. My son, he doesn't excel in many departments like his good looks or his, you know, height or ambition. Well, ambition he has,
Mm-hmm.
but he's incredibly smart when it comes to dealing this cocaine. In a matter of 2 weeks, he had, I believe, almost 15 employees working under him selling cocaine to
Jesus.
most of the city. And the funny thing, Mr. Vinny, is that initially the cocaine that was being sold, well, my father was experimenting a little with the formula, and it really didn't do much of anything. My son managed to sell hundreds of thousands worth of this product by telling people that it increased their odds at the blackjack table, if you could believe it.
And people believed it.
And people believed it. Yep. Eventually, though, my since my husband noticed that the business was starting to come in, a lot bigger and the demand was growing a lot more, he ended up having a meeting with my father where my father and my husband came to an agreement to, bring some of the good shit over here,
Okay.
and that good shit started to hit the streets right as my husband had to leave the city indefinitely. I'm afraid, after speaking to him yesterday, attending to some serious family matters, and Jimmy is in ICU.
So somebody else is out there moving your product.
Mr. Vinny, are you psychic?
Huh? Well, you just said your husband left and there's stuff coming into the city now.
Well, yes, no, I know. This walk up from my chair would have been a lot cooler if the city didn't fuck me just now. But no, I said we were moving it initially. We were the ones moving that new formulation, but my son went into ICU and my husband's been away. And
Yeah.
yes, you're correct. I come to find out last week. Well, I woke up. It was just another ordinary day for me in the city. And well, Mr. I'm not going to say names, but I had several people come up to me and they thought it would be funny to say, "Oh, look, Sophia, look what I have. I have this." And then they would put cocaine in my hands. And I was incredibly confused because, to my understanding, we were the only ones in the city that could access cocaine.
Well, I listen.
Um,
Since you're coming to me with honesty, like I said, I don't get into involved with people's business. A lot of people come to me because of my connections, and I already know the names that are out there.
you want to say them to me?
Yeah, Mickey and Lang Buddha.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
like I
exactly.
said, you don't know me well, but I have a lot of connections within the city, and a lot of people come to me for stuff, and I don't even ask for it. They just come to me with it. Nor do I drop names on who gave me information. That's just something I always do. But yeah, I know exactly who's moving it.
Yeah. And I have a problem with this, Mr. Vinny. And I'll say the metaphor that I said to you, to Mr. K yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it to you. Cocaine had been gone from the city for a very long time when my son
Curtis
reintroduced it
told
to
me,
the
Chad.
market, essentially as cooking powder that, tricking people into buying it, making them believe it would increase their odds at the casino,
Mm-hmm.
making hundreds of thousands of dollars and creating this huge demand for it. When the new formula came into the market, everyone lost their fucking mind and we couldn't produce cocaine fast enough, to the point that, he was making hundreds of thousands of dollars every few days, every 24 to 48 hours. And next thing
Jesus.
you know, my son goes into ICU. My husband has to go away on family matters. Put it this way, let's say you're a farmer, correct? And you've been growing the best crops in the entire town, and you have been supplying to the people, and the people are happy. And you happen to catch the COVID, for example, and you're down, for 2, 3 weeks, you can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
And some motherfucker walks by and sees your nice crops and decides, well, you know what? I'm going to take all these crops and I'm going to walk over to the city. Did you need to take that?
No, no, no. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to take all your crops and I'm going to walk over to the city and I'm going to sell them to the people and profit off the market that you created for those people. That's exactly how it feels to me. It feels a little bit like betrayal, especially on Mickey's side, because he knew, that we.
Don't get me started with betrayal with Mickey, please.
Oh no,
I could easily told
listen.
you he would have done that in a blink of a fucking eye the way he snaked us. So he used to be actually CG, by the way, Mickey.
Oh, that's.
And
I'm
you
surprised
know,
to hear that.
he said that we didn't respect him, a person that we CG as a family. Barely anybody would be able to come into our family, anybody, because we have a core group, right?
Yeah.
This motherfucker, we brought him in because we trusted him, and he says that we didn't have loyalty to him, and we didn't respect him. Just a fucking excuse in my book. So trust me when I tell you that the fact that you said Mickey right away, he's the biggest fucking snake in this city anyway.
Yes, I feel the same way. In fact, like I said to Mickey, Mickey and I had a one-on-one about it, and I said to him, Mickey, I tried to come to an understanding or some kind of agreement, and he was so adamant about the fact that he's just taking advantage of what's in front of him. And I said, Mickey, continue. You're always going to be the type of person who will step on anyone and step on anything and take advantage of anyone that you can to try to get to the top.
Yep,
You can
you
fool
literally.
whoever you want.
Yep.
Yeah, he can fool whoever he wants temporarily into believing that he has their best interest. As soon as an opportunity is above that person's head, he will step on them like it's nothing. He doesn't understand loyalty.
100%. You're literally just fucking speaking facts. Trust me.
Yeah. So I spoke to Mr. Lang, who took out his RPG, which was quite amusing because I didn't come with hostile intentions, and in fact, he looked like a little man holding a big RPG, but he seems like a very nice guy, if I'm being completely honest.
So he I guess he takes you as a threat. That's why I guess he pulled out an RPG on you. Okay.
I suppose, yes. I'm 5'3" and 107 pounds. I don't know what could be threatening about me, but that's besides the point. They basically, they're adamant that the business is too profitable, and they're not going to stop selling it. So I decided, thank to God, my husband calls yesterday, and I told him about everything that was going on, and he informed me that, you know, if they managed to get if Mr. Mickey and Mr. Lang already got their hands on how to access how to send the signal over to Colombia to get the shipments brought into Los Santos,
Mm-hmm.
there's really not much we can do about that. But what we can do is we can just basically run them out of business by
Oh,
handling it ourselves.
I like this. I like where you're going, Sophia.
Yes, yes. And this next part is really important to me personally because I'll have you know, Mr. Vinny, I wasn't involved in Coke. I allowed my husband and my son to do that. Um, if anything, I was sort of the face for it for the PD. You should have seen those fools. They had a board with my face in the middle, calling me the Coke Queen, even though I had never done it or even profited a dime from it. But I am completely 100% against CB in general, profiting from something that we worked so hard to establish in the city. And if I'm being completely honest, you, Mr. K, even Rami, who's mostly an asshole, Curtis, you guys have been probably the kindest to me in the city, aside from like my husband and my son. You've given me a fair chance. A lot of people in the city have kind of given me an extra hard time for things that are silly, like being new and not understanding certain. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they expected me to come in and in a month to understand the ins and out of the city and not fuck anything up, which makes
Well,
me
at the end of the day, real recognizes real, so that's why we fuck with you and we chill with you.
I appreciate that, and the feeling is mutual. So yeah, and I really respect you guys, and if there's anyone in the city that I would prefer to work with on this, it would be CG over everyone else, because I know that you guys actually have a moral compass and like
Chat, y'all
a
need to
code
relax,
into
dude.
which you do things. You're like a family, like you said.
Exactly, yeah.
So that brings me to my next question, because you are the man that is very well informed. I've come to see.
Yes.
Mr. Vinny, have you met Bob?
Who the fuck is Bob?
Oh, Mr. Vinny, don't be so funny. Bob, he's the guy. He's a man that likes to what is that law that they said they were going to put loitering? He's a man that likes to loitering in the back of the casino.
Oh, yes, yes, that guy. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Bob, he will only really ever respond to you if you give him 100K in cash.
Yes, the boys have done this before, but something that Mr. K told me, they wasted a shit ton of money. They went to a phone, but nothing after that. Like, they can't do nothing.
Yes. So this is how it has to be done. Has to be done where we shut off the powered grid to the city temporarily, which I believe can be done somewhere near the
I know
casino.
how to do it.
Yep.
Let me be honest with you about something. If you're going where I think you're going with this, your husband actually hired me to knock out the power in the city
When did he hire you to do this?
a while ago.
Okay. Were you the one doing that for him while he was getting the code?
I'm assuming, I don't know what the hell he was doing. He just paid me to knock out the power in the city, and I just went on my way. And I noticed he got really mad at me when I was in the back of the casino with the helicopter before we did it.
Oh.
And I'm putting two and two together. I guess the reason why is because Bob's back there and the heli's back there, and it's just not a good look.
Precisely, yeah. I believe my husband prior did you hear about the one crazy day my husband, Mr. K, Ramee, Randy, and Mariposa and I had?
No, because usually I'm in a coma at that time.
Well, my husband hung out with Mr. K and Ramee and all the boys, and I also did. My husband did it for a few days. I came along with them once, and I think my husband has come to really appreciate CG. He kind of sees past the whatever he hears, and he actually really appreciates the boys and enjoys that
He
spending
recognizes
time
we're the
with them.
realest fucking crew in this city. That's what he realized.
I didn't want to say it like that, but I actually do
Oh,
believe that's
you don't.
accurate.
I get right to the point. We've been around the longest. We've always been in this city. We never went nowhere, and we're the realest fucking crew in the city, and that's why people hate us. So your husband recognizes us. That's why.
Yes, and that's why when I mentioned to him that I wanted you guys to take over the business, I would like to be involved in some capacity just to be able to report back to him. Um, but I want you guys to be the ones that really have control over it. He said that he agreed that this was the best decision for our family,
Okay.
and he gave me a
Ooh.
little bit of an information that would be useful to you guys. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
just gonna quickly lay this out.
Okay.
So the power has to go off.
Yeah.
Then Bobby has to be visited with a bag,
Mm-hmm.
a bag, and then from there on we visit the telephones, and then I have a set of codes that
Oh
my husband gave
shit.
me to pass along to you guys. Of
Oh
course, I cannot do
fuck
this.
yes.
I cannot do this
Let's
like this.
go.
This has to be done. I prefer to do it in a meeting with all the boys that are going to be involved in this, and it will be exchanged through emails for privacy
Security
and
reasons,
safety
of
and
course.
security. And then I'm open to hear what you guys have to say after you see these codes, because I believe it's going to be really useful
So
for
I'm
us in
guessing
this.
where my boys went to the phone and they couldn't do anything over there because they were blocked because they needed these certain codes is my guess, correct?
Yes, either that or they needed, Mr. Vinny, the saying, light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say the codes are the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's hard to see what you're looking for when there's no light.
Oh fuck yes, Sophia. Let's do it.
Well,
Listen, I'm willing. Listen, like I said, I've dealt with the powder a long. I used to call it the Peruvian white snake. That was my product back in the day. And like I said, I used to move hella shit. If you notice, I don't do crime. I don't get my hands dirty. I take care of the business side of for CG. This is the shit I love. So for you coming to me about this is just like right up what I needed in my life.
well, that's another thing you and I have in common. I don't really get a rush of doing nonstop flicas and jewelry stores and boosting. I quite enjoy mostly because I'm getting to learn the vehicles in the city. But yes, I do enjoy. I guess you could say I'm a bit of a little bit of an academic, and I liked, seeing things coming to life and structured and things like that.
I feel like me and
And
you are the same person in a sense. You're just a
I,
female version of me.
I wouldn't give myself that much credit, Mr. Vinny,
Well, I'm
but
talking about like you don't get off on doing banks. Like I do the boosting, I do racing. Like that's all I like. I just like handling business, you know.
yes, I see that as playing checkers. I'm more interested in
Hoppers
playing chess.
molding, true, dude.
It's a little bit higher stakes, but also when you win, it's much more rewarding, not just for yourself, but for the ones around you as well.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Okay, you're coming to me with this information, and then we have a meeting with the boys. I'm gonna inform you something right now.
I'm listening.
This will be the biggest takeover in the city, and we're gonna drive them right out of this. And if it has to get dirty, I promise you the boys will get dirty with this. And me and you will sit back and laugh our asses off when we're making millions, the boys are making millions, and the others are crying.
Yes, I'm that is completely fine with me. In fact, sadly, Mr. Vinny, I'm somebody who is I cared about people, maybe a little too much, some would say. And I came to Mickey and I came to Buddha and I explained to them, how
Oh,
we
this is
worked
gonna be
for a
good.
while to create this market and how at first the product was shit and it didn't do anything. And I was met with, how do I word these? Nothing but ego and elitism, like, oh, we're too good to listen to you. Mr. Lang said he would never get involved with a 15-year-old kid, even though my son, has made millions off of this
Mm-hmm.
on his own. And I just felt like, I felt very put off by their demeanor. They weren't even willing to entertain the idea of where the business came from and where it sprouted from.
I mean,
So,
they didn't show you any type of respect in a sense, so I
oh,
get where you
none
come from.
whatsoever. Yeah, no, none whatsoever. So, whatever has to be done has to be done because ultimately, I will, fight to the end for what my family has worked for.
And we'll strive to keep that going with your family, so I can promise you
Yeah.
that.
And I believe that you guys would do a phenomenal job at it. Otherwise, I would not come to you.
Well, we appreciate that, and definitely when the boys come around tonight, let's get a meeting set up and let's get right to it.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I would ideally like to start moving this, in progress as soon as possible. And I also have a list. My son did have a notebook where he kept all his, the people that were employed under him who could easily move hundreds and hundreds of bags
Mm-hmm.
overnight of this product, and we could see profit almost instantly. And I'm talking about 300% type of profit.
All right, well, that's
So
beautiful. But the thing is, we need to just figure out because we need to obviously get you a percentage also. Because of you
yes.
doing this for us, obviously, this is your thing and we'll never take that over from you, right? We'll just work beside you in this. And obviously, you need to collect a percentage from this.
Yes, that is something that I am very grateful for, and we can discuss that later. My main concern now is to make sure that we don't allow this to continue to get into the wrong hands and have the wrong people profit from it. I trust you, Mr. Vinny. I know you wouldn't fuck me.
I won't fuck you. I can promise you that. If you coming to me with this is just, it's really good because this is what I'm used to. This is what I love. This is what I thrive for. So trust me, I wouldn't fuck you over.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, and likewise.
All right. Well, this is a perfect relationship. The start of a perfect relationship. This is gonna be good.
Thank you.
All
If you
right.
want, you can. Where are you headed now? I think I have some business to do over
I'll drop
at
you off wherever you want to
Otto's.
get dropped off, and then I'll go handle business. And then when the crew comes around, hit me up. And or if you're not doing anything, you're bored, just hit me up.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Vinny.
Chat. Jesus, bro.
Otto's would be fine.
All right, sounds good. Chat. This is fucking
So I was
big.
going to ask, now that I have you here, Mr. Vinny, do you know by any chance where Hatch keeps the DNA for H&O. I'm assuming I've heard him say it's in States, but I don't know where, and I'd have to.
The only place I would think is the storage unit. You know, the storage place inside H with the in the company.